Hey solos, do I have a solo story for you? In fact, I have a whole month of solo stories for you, and this is the perfect one to kick off the month of solo stories. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do. And welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its second year. Happy June, everyone. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Happy month of solo stories. So I have connected with so many amazing people online that I had so many solo stories that I'm just like, let's do a whole month. And I am so excited because I think the range of stories that I'm going to be able to share with you this month is just so interesting and fantastic. And I'm just so very excited. And I've been holding on to this episode for like 5 weeks now. I didn't want it to get lost in the whole epic universe. I had some other things scheduled. And then this woman also had some other promotion that she was doing. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to wait till June. And so, drum roll please, this is a solo story with Magically Adulting Stranje, who talks about oh my gosh, we talk about so many things. We talk about how there are certain places that you just know that you feel welcomed and comfortable, and that includes just being in Disney property and its force field. But also, as a Black creator, Stranje also talks about like places that she hasn't felt that welcome, or the places that are increasingly becoming more welcome for women like her. We talk about how Disney is really just a big community. And so when you're there solo, you're never really there solo. You can always just like make friends with someone, hey girl, hey, and all of a sudden have a new Disney bestie. And why that is one of the best things about being able to go to Disney solo. Stranje also talks about her favorite thing to do at Disney, which is cry. And I just love that we touched upon so many topics. We laughed so much, but we also had the opportunity to really talk about the way Disney is this healing place. And I just really appreciate how frank Stranje was in talking about this experience when she's going to Disney solo. It was just so wonderful. It was so wonderful that we talked for an hour and 40 minutes. It was crazy. In fact, I had to interrupt her at one point to be like, hey, look, I only asked you for an hour of your time and we are way over that. Like, are you okay to continue? And she was, which I was so happy about because it was just such a fantastic conversation. We could have talked all afternoon. Now, when you've looked at this particular episode on your feed, you'll notice that it isn't an hour and 40 minutes long. And that's because I've never done an episode that long. So I tried to cut it in a way that didn't lose the essence of it, but that made it a similar length to the other episodes that I do, if not a little bit long, but still at least within that range. So if you want to listen to the whole conversation, you can go on Patreon and you can listen to the whole conversation, or, and this is even better, you can watch the whole conversation completely unedited. And there were definitely some moments when Stranje answered with her facial expressions more than she answered with her words. And that's in this episode. It was just really great because that is what happens when you have two people talking about things that they love. You sometimes don't need to communicate with words. You can just communicate with a with a look. So if you want to watch the conversation, if you want to watch the whole conversation or listen to it, go to Patreon below and that will give you access to that. Now, Patreon is $5 Canadian, which is $4 American. That's nothing. Plus there is a 7-day free trial. So jump on there, get a free trial. And in July and August, there's going to be some additional content that I create for the Patreon. Things like printables, like downloadables for the different deluxe resorts and things about transportation and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot coming to Patreon, and it's not that much to become a member. Along with the Patreon link in the description below, you will also find the links to all of Strange's social media. So Instagram, Threads, all of that stuff is down below. Please make sure you follow her. She is a very fun creator who is really just like so much herself, and it's just really fun to be able to follow her, especially in the last couple of weeks because she is a big Stitch fan and she has been very excited about the live action movie. Now, when you are going to follow Stranje, I want you to go and take a look at her Instagram grid, because one of the things that you are going to see is that she is one of the hosts for a Juneteenth celebration at Disney World on June 19th that's going to be taking place at Port Orleans French Quarter. So Juneteenth is now a national holiday in the United States. In Canada, we don't celebrate it. That's not part of our history in the same way. But because it is now a national holiday, it is an even better opportunity for people to get together and build community and honor this history. So on June 19th, there's going to be a Juneteenth celebration at Port Orleans French Quarter. It's going to be at around 5 o'clock in the Scat Cat Lounge. Everyone is welcome. And if you are following Stranje, who's magically adulting _ then you'll be able to see all about that event as other things are posted. So please make sure you go and follow her so you'll know more about this event along with the other things that she does, because it sounds like a really great opportunity to, again, build this community and honor that history. And if I was in Orlando, I would be there. I will not be in Orlando, though. I will be in Canada, in very cold Toronto, for the first weekend of June. That's a different rant that I won't bring to this particular episode. But you can follow me on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. All my links are below as well. And I just feel like I keep gravitating towards my Disney social media accounts to be reminded that people can be warm in June, because it is unseasonably cold here. Anyway, please enjoy how wonderful this conversation was with Stranje, and let's just get right on into it. Stranje, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the Solo Magic podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm super, super excited. You're my first ever podcast, so you are taking all of my podcast juju, so have it.
Oh, well, look, it's not going to get any better than this. This is like peak podcast.
Hey,
We're going to have an
I'm so
amazing
happy with that.
conversation. Can you introduce yourself for everybody?
Of course, I am Stranje, also known as Magically Adulting on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads.
Can you talk a little bit about like you and your Disney journey?
Yes. Okay. So this Disney obsession is since the womb. Since the womb, honey. I am a born and raised Floridian. So born right in Kissimmee, Florida, whoop whoop, at the Pink Hospital. If you're from Central Florida, Kissimmee, you know what hospital I'm talking about. I was born there, and my mom actually worked at Disney World. My mom worked at the Wilderness Lodge.
Oh, wow.
And so me growing up here, that was like the thing that we did. We didn't grow up very wealthy. So my mom worked at Disney, and so that's where we went all the time. So literally my childhood started in Disney.
I love that. I love that. And I love how it's like, and I think this is the case with a lot of people with Disney, right? Like you have these layered, really lovely connections with family, but then you
Oh yeah.
also have these other layered connections with healing and trauma, right? Like healing from trauma, I shouldn't say, I should say, rather than just like
Well,
trauma
trauma
Disney. Although
too.
trauma
Trauma too.
Disney, I would say is definitely mission space for me. Sorry, you have Disney trauma? You want to talk about that?
It's literally the same.
Okay.
It's literally the same. And I was trying to be so sweet with kid that I went to Disney with, and he was like, "Will you go on Mission Space with me?" And I remember being like, um, I don't want to tell him no. And I got on, and I regretted it immediately once I got off. It was not good. In the middle of the ride, I am literally digging my nails into my husband. I'm like, "Get me out this ride." Like I can't. That and Figment is probably my two Disney traumas right there.
Interesting, because like I don't really get Figment,
I
whatever.
don't get it.
And so I've mentioned that in the podcast. And then like the next person I was doing a solo story with, she came like full head to toe Figment stuff. And she's like, no, it's a core childhood memory of mine. He's my favorite character. And I was like, okay, like I'll respect
Yeah.
that.
I'm like, listen, I grew up with other Disney adults. Don't recall any of them ever caring about Figment. I don't know why Figment even came back. Like, did a petition start? Like, who decided, like, yeah, this is who we I'm like, out of all the characters you could have like resurrected, like you picked Figment and the ride.
I've never done it.
Don't. If you want to keep your sanity, don't. I remember getting off that ride going, what just happened? Like I didn't even know if like I was like, that's not real. Like they wasted money on that. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting.
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened, I think, with Figment is that they were like Festival of the Arts. Let's just bring in Figment because that makes kind of sense. Let's do like a little throwback. And then people lost their damn minds over those popcorn buckets and they were like, ka-ching.
And
And
they
so
are
because I just
definitely
feel like
milking
it
it.
went from, okay, yeah, you can buy a Figment thing to like,
Yeah, because at one point Disney was advertising like, "Oh, Figment's back for a limited time," and then next thing you know, it's like Figment, Figment, Figment. It's like, what are you doing? Like, stop!
I
And
know. I
it's
feel
so
like it's
funny
just
because you
kind of
either
like
meet people who love them or just like,
right. And like
"Ugh."
I'm like whatever, I'm fine, but it bugs me to see so much Figment merchandise because I'm like you all are just being kind of lazy.
But I can't listen. I've been told that I can't talk about the push on the Figment merch because I'm a diehard Stitch fan,
Oh my
and
God,
we
I was
all know.
literally just gonna say like Stitch, but I waited. So I'm glad I
But
did.
I know Stitch is pushed like crazy. Listen,
Yeah,
I
what is
am
up
well
with that?
aware that they
Why?
are pushing him like crazy. I don't know. It's because he's so cute. He's so cute and
Is
fluffy.
he?
I love it. I love him. I literally have, listen, this is nice right now. I have on Stitch pajama pants right now. I'm not even joking with you. Like right now, I have on Stitch pajama. There's like six of them sitting on my floor right here.
So for
It's
those of you
really
who are
bad.
listening, she pointed to like her upper half of her body, which does look amazing. She has these adorable. Well, first watch the video on Patreon. She has these
That.
beautiful ears that have this gold bow, and then she has a matching, like to the hue, matching gold shirt on. Like she looks totally top tier, and then she has Figment pajama
Yeah.
pants on, which like
Yeah.
look, no judgment to one Zoom outfit, but judgment to Stitch maybe.
Listen, I'm used to this. I used to work from home, so I used to show up in meetings like this, and I was like, "Oh, you look so great today." I'm like, "Only if they knew."
So you have this history of going to Disney since you were little, but now
Literally.
you go. Sometimes I see you go with your husband, but you go
Mhm.
solo as well. Can you talk a little bit
Yes.
about that? What that is like, and was that a weird thing for you, even though like when you started going as an adult and you went by yourself?
It was very weird for me
Oh,
because
interesting.
I've always went to Disney with people. Like I said, I've lit when I say I've literally gone to Disney since I was a newborn, I literally have gone to Disney since I was a newborn. And when I was in high school, my first ever job was at Disney. So when I started working at Disney, it was an excuse to still bring people with me because
Mm.
I was like, well, I work there, now I can get you in, and now I can go whenever I want and get people in with me. So it when I started to pursue content creating is when I had to be realistic with myself and be like, okay, if you really want this to like take off and make a career out of this, there's gonna have to be times where you're gonna have to suck it up and go by yourself. And that's when I was just like, okay, like I got this. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, if we're being completely 100% honest, the first couple of times that I went by myself, I had to take a shot or two. Because I was like,
You
I'm
had to take a
not.
shot like of alcohol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I had to take a
Okay.
shot or two
Okay.
because I was like, the anxiety is gonna be through the roof. I have really, really bad anxiety. A lot of people don't probably know this. I have really bad social anxiety. And so I was like, okay, shot of tequila, and we're gonna go do this. We got this. And it would make it worse.
And you're like, you know what? I should go on mission space. I
Yeah,
should do the Figment ride again.
it was not good. I had to stop taking a shot before going to Disney.
So, what was the first park that you tried solo?
Epcot.
You know, it's funny. I kind of imagined you were going to say that. Yeah.
The reason is that I was like, I could just walk World Showcase and see like And I also was thinking to myself, like, Epcot has a lot of escape routes. Like, I can escape a lot of different ways from Epcot. Like, if
Mm,
I just have a full-blown panic attack.
yeah,
So I was just like, okay, I can go to Epcot. It's small, it's enclosed. You like it's really no getting lost in Epcot. Like
right.
I go to the park so much I don't ever get lost, but like, Epcot is just that perfect circle. So I was like, I can go to Epcot. It's really not much thought about it. It's just a big circle and I can just get right out. And I probably shouldn't have went the day that I went because for some odd reason I thought it was great to try to conquer this fear during peak season. So yeah, that was not great. I remember getting there and just seeing like a sea of people in
Hmm.
Mexico. And I just like literally standing in the middle of the crowd, like just my eyes closed for a minute and just like telling myself like to breathe, to breathe, to breathe. And I remember I called my husband and he was like, just breathe. Like it's okay. Like no one's hurting you. Like you're good. And I remember a follower seeing me and she ran up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, are you magically adulting?" And I think like she just read my face and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like if I startled you." And I'm like, "No, no, no." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm just having like a little anxiety." And she truly calmed me down
Mm,
so much. Like she walked me off to the side, like we had a conversation. Like it was so nice. She asked for a picture. I took a picture with her. And like after that, I felt like really good. Like you're not in harm's way. Like you're
hmm.
good. And that did help. I only stayed for like an hour,
It's
but
okay.
it was a step in the right direction. But now I can just run out there. Like I was at Animal Kingdom yesterday.
Okay, a few things. It's interesting when you're going solo and you want to try to I don't know, you're worried about it. Because going during peak season, like when there's a lot of people, you could think to yourself, "Oh, I can blend in. No one will notice
Hmm.
I'm there by myself. It'll be fine." But then you're like, "Oh, there's a ton of people here and they're all with people," even though that's not necessarily true. They're all with
Yep.
people and here I am by myself. Or you
Hmm.
can feel like, "Okay, I'll go and it's not that busy." And then I'm not surrounded by people, they're there with other people, even though that's not always true, but then you're like, oh, now
Exactly.
I'm really exposed, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, in both of those cases, I think it is, I'm saying this for the audience too, if they're worried about it, that's so much in your head because when you are at Disney, you were there as part of a community. Like you're never really
Exactly.
alone, alone. Because I just feel like you are now like entering into like a sorority or a fraternity, a non-toxic one, that of like
Exactly.
people who of people who understand and are like there with you and for you for the same thing, like the
Hmm.
experience with the follower that came up, like, oh yeah, you're a part of a community. Because like I know when I come back, even if I had moments of loneliness, there'll be times where I'll just like connect with a cast member for like 30 seconds and be like, oh right, that's why it feels so comfortable and safe to come
Yeah.
here solo.
Disney is so, I think my anxiety wins. And overall, it's just a safe and relaxing place to be. And I feel like I can just go. It's like a different type of peace when you go by yourself. Like
Mm,
it's just like I
yeah,
can do what I want. I don't have to um it might sound kind of selfish, but like entertain anyone else's like needs.
a
Like,
100%. That's
like
literally the point of this podcast.
yeah, like I don't have to like entertain
You don't want
anyone
to
else's
entertain other
needs.
people's needs unless it's the
Yeah.
listener's needs. And then I hope you're enjoying this podcast.
Yeah, like I want to if I want to go see Mickey, like I don't want like especially like my daughter's older. She don't sometimes want to go see the characters. She wants to go like straight to Tron or Guardians or Tower of Terror. No, I might want to go hug Mickey for 30 minutes because you guys have stressed me out for the week, because they don't understand what it's like to be a mom and a wife, and a career person. Like I want to go hug Mickey,
Yeah.
like they might not want to do that. So when I go by myself, like I can go do what I want when I want, and I don't have to hear any other opinions about what I want to do in the park.
I know. So I come from Toronto. So, so it's a little bit colder. So, especially like during the winter months or whatever, sometimes my mom will be like, "Well, I want to go to Florida." So I was like, "Fine, come with." So one time we were walking around Magic Kingdom and I was like, "Oh, so do you want to do Haunted Mansion?" And she's like, "No." Oh, I know I phrased that as a question, but
Oh,
it
yeah,
really
no,
was
that's
not a question.
non-negotiable. You're right. That is non. I'm so glad we're on the same page. I feel like Haunted Mansion, that's non-negotiable. When we go to Magic, oh, and for me, it's also the Carousel of Progress.
Okay.
That's non-negotiable for me. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I know everyone's like, what? I
No,
turn
see,
up
the thing is,
on
like, a
that.
lot of people really love it,
I
and
love
that's
it.
great. I I do not, but okay, I do not. Okay, I do
Okay.
not hardcore, but it's also because it's like deeply problematic and like sexist and racist and
Oh
like
my God.
so
So
whenever
tell
I
me.
when I did it the one time and I was like, oh dear God.
Oh my
Okay.
God. I would love to know. No, like, especially being a Black woman, would love to know your perspective.
Well, it's funny because like the one time I did it as an adult, there was a family of two mothers and like three kids and they were black and they were like, "Is this good?" And I'm like, "Well, it's like fine. It's not a like a ride, but it's
Yeah.
warm because it was really really cold that day." So I'm like, "You can like get in here and get warm, right?"
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, whatever, I guess so." So they went in it. This like family of like five black women were like two black women and like their black little girls and we were watching it and the whole time I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You know what? When you put it like that, if you're thinking about the decades that a lot of this is happening in, if you think about there's absolutely no people of color on this whatsoever. I could definitely see, oh, and then the whole situation with the sister and the brother on that ride. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
listen.
look, I mean we can talk about it. I don't know if
I could
everyone wants their like illusion shattered and that's totally fine. Like
I could see that.
I do not need to provide that, but I just was like,
For me,
oh
it's
my
not even
God.
the show.
What did
It's
I
the
do to this
song.
family? I'm so sorry.
It is the song for me. And you want to, and this is
It's
gonna
the
sound
song? Sure,
horrible.
that's fine. The Sherman Brothers. That's
It's the
great. I get.
song. And you want to know what? And this is why I said this is gonna make me sound so horrible. I think
No.
I love it so much because it annoys my husband too.
I don't know. That sounds amazing.
It's just like I love getting like there's not a lot that jugs at my husband. He's very, very calm, very demure. I'm the complete opposite. I'm not mindful. I'm not demure. So I take every opportunity to really like jab at him, like in a obviously like a playful, like loving way. And I know that ride in particular. So even like when we're at home, like if he wants to talk about something serious, I'm like, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow. And he's just like, never mind. I'm like, yes. I
Look,
know that
I
would just
love like
make him leave
old.
me
I
be.
love nostalgic stuff. The music, of course, it's fun. It's the Sherman Brothers. The little bird from Mary Poppins is like does a cameo in it. Like I totally get it, but like
Oh,
we can't
believe
do
me,
everything.
I have gotten slack for liking that ride, but I tell
No,
people all the
a
time,
lot
I'm
of
like,
people
it's
love
the
it, and
song.
that's cool. A lot of people love it. And that's
No, a lot of my community, a lot of the Black
yeah.
community, believe me, have given me slack for liking that ride. But I'm like, you guys, it's the song. I'm like, the song is so catchy and it's so like borderline annoying. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I wanted to just mention the thing about safety because, yes, I talk a lot
Mhm.
in this podcast about how safe it is, how safe it feels on my nervous system. Like, as a woman who travels
Yes.
alone a lot, like, it didn't even, it doesn't even clock into me that there is a safety issue because it is so safe and that is so odd as a woman, right? Living
Hmm.
in the world. But there have been a couple women who have said, who are Florida natives, who have said they've had like uncomfortable experiences in parking lots, like at Disney Springs, at the parks,
Yes.
and at like the hotel resorts, like late at night. And I mean, I guess. I guess that is because it's like kind of a spot like slightly outside, like your car is like that
Yes.
liminal space between the Disney bubble and the outside world. So I guess that's a good thing to remember if people are driving, but it is those experiences are very rare. I'm just saying that to the audience
Yeah,
today.
they're very, very rare.
I think to like link back to this idea of like Disney as a community that's like fairly safe too. One of the
Yeah.
things that like in some situations when I'm traveling by myself, I do kind of want to blend in. I don't I mean, I it is hard for me to blend in. I wear a lot of color and I'm very friendly, but to
Right? We
like
say we want to blend in as we go bounding to the park.
yeah. But actually at Disney, like I want to blend in other places so it doesn't seem like I'm just like a single female by myself. But at
Yes.
Disney, there's a lot of times where I want to like make eye contact with a cast member. I want them to like see me leave. I want them to like recognize me. I want them to remember me because that like continuity of just people like being on people's radar, I think is a
Yes.
useful way to just kind of create a bit of a safety net around you, even if it's just
Hmm.
kind of like energetic.
So I don't do what I do. I have gone out to eat with strangers that I've met in the park. Non-judgment zone. I don't know. Thinking back on it, was it the smartest? No. Did I know if these people were trying to harm me? No. But I went and had dinner with them. And did we have a great time and I'm still here to tell the story? Yes. And I did. I got a little too friendly with some people in the park one day and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner with us?" And I'm like, "Sure." And they paid for my whole meal.
But I mean that okay, first that's wonderful. But I don't know. I don't think that I think that the risk level of doing that at Disney is really low. I think that the
It
like
is.
risk is if it's a person you don't jive with. But I had just done a solo trip and one of the people I interviewed on the podcast actually, she was going to be there too and she's like, "Well, do you want to do this and this?" And then we met up with somebody else and like I had zero qualms about it and we had a really fun time, right? Like I think the risk is if it's just like not your type of Disney person.
Exactly. And I think that we can all, especially if you go to Disney a lot, I think you can tell like who is not.
Who are your people?
Yeah, like there's just people that you can look at and be like, yeah, they were forced here. And then there's just people where you're like Disney adult, hands down. And I
Yeah.
I always gravitate to my Disney adults. Like and you it's like and I've found my people are the much older people. I
Mm,
don't know what it is, but the older generation Disney adults, that's your safe spot right
yeah.
there. Every time. Every time. They will talk to you for hours. They're the sweetest people. When I go to the resorts, I always find like an 80-year-old couple and we sit down for hours and have like the best Disney conversations ever. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, it is really wonderful. I sat beside this woman at the Polynesian Tower last time, and I could tell she was by herself. She was older, and then she told me like, "Oh, now she's a DVC member by herself because her husband had died." And her sister said that she wanted to go with her. And like this woman was like in her late 60s, early 70s, and she's like, "I didn't want to go with her. I would rather do it myself." And I was like, "Oh, Sabrina, you sound amazing."
Listen, I don't know how people do that. I don't think I'm bold enough yet to travel to other Disneys by myself. I know that there's people who do it. I don't know if I'm there yet. I'm still maneuvering our parks
Well, would you
and
do
in our land
Disneyland
town.
by yourself?
Probably not. Only
Hmm.
because I have not experienced Disneyland yet.
Mm.
I will be experiencing it for the first time in August. So once I
Ooh.
experience it, yes, but only because I have not I've never been to Anaheim. This is going to be my first time in the area, everything. I'm just starting to meet like other like creators and stuff there. So I think like after the first time I do it, I would feel a little bit more comfortable. But like my first time like out the gate, this busting open like Disneyland, I'm here. No, I don't think I'm there yet.
It's also a far way to travel, relatively speaking, of course. It's a far way to
Yeah.
travel for parks that you could do over a couple of days, right? Like
Yeah.
Orlando, you can go for a week. But I mean, I don't know. I would give yourself more grace. I think that traveling to France or Japan or Hong
Yep.
Kong, like those are big trips. That's not just like going
Yes.
to Disney by yourself. Those are going to Europe, going to different
Exactly.
continents, you know? Like that's a different thing. Um and like Natasha did not have a good experience at Disneyland Paris
Yes.
for her birthday, and she
Yeah.
said it was a lot. She really credited it for like being a large black woman in Paris. And
And
I
I
was
think
like,
that
yeah,
that's why
they're
I'm more
pretty
cautious
terrible.
with my traveling too, if I'm being bluntly honest. Like, I think that with anything, and even with our parks, I have definitely experienced racial discrimination in our parks.
Mhm.
And so sometimes that can deter you on how you move with traveling. That's why I said that, like with Disneyland, I would love to just definitely, and I know that there will be a day where I will definitely break in Disneyland by myself one day. But I think that, like, I always like to see the vibe of where I'm going first,
Yeah.
especially being a Black woman going into the parks. Because, especially if you don't have the privilege of experiencing racism, that's great. I don't think that, and, I think that people feel like, well, Black people talk about it all the time. It's because it's our life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we do have to think about things like that when we are going into the park solo, especially going solo because you don't have anyone there advocating for you, watching for you,
Mhm.
and I like to go and make sure like the vibe is right. And like the first time I went to the Grand Floridian, um, I went by myself.
Mhm.
And I would not say that it was the most magical experience
Mm.
as when I went with one of my friends who happens to be white.
Mhm.
It was a very, very different experience. I was very profiled at the Grand Floridian.
Mhm.
So I have kind of learned to scope out energies before I go places by myself.
Yeah.
And now I've learned that the Grand is just not somewhere that I will always go by myself. I did just go a couple weeks ago by myself to the Grand. I had a great experience this time. Um, but I know that that's not always the case. Whereas in, if I'm being honest, the vibe is very different at like French Quarters.
Totally.
Like completely. My people are there,
Right.
like
Yes.
that's my
Yeah.
scene, So when I go there, I feel welcome. I feel like you're meant to be here, It's not always that feeling at like places like Contemporary or Grand Floridian, where it tends to be more of a older, more very financially stable crowd. You might not be as welcome there. But I don't even want to just say that it's just possibly because I'm Black, because I know white creators who have gone to these spaces solo and felt uncomfortable because of just they don't look like a social status.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
match the criteria of a social status. But I definitely think that, like you said, like you hit the nail on the head. Like when you are in the Disney space, you learn your places and your area. And I just know where to go now. Like I know like this is my place. When I'm here, I'm solo, I feel good. Like and I've kind of learned how to maneuver myself around Disney, whether that's being a creator, being Black, being a woman,
Mhm.
because I feel like we have to be careful regardless. Like just because
Definitely.
we're women.
Definitely. And I think like to link back to Carousel of Progress, like histories histories come with us, right? Like
Yes.
histories come with us so much so that there are places where our histories are like validated, right? Like
Mhm.
acknowledged as being able to exist. And then there are
Mhm.
spaces where our histories are not even like associated with existing. And if you are middle class, upper middle class, white, male, like your
I should say
history,
male.
especially in America, in a lot of like big places in America, like you don't even think you're a fish in the water. You don't even think about the
Mhm.
water because you're living in the water, right? And
Yeah.
so if you are not part of those demographics and how and like able-bodied and thin, like all those things too,
Yes.
you like learn where your history like reflects back to you positively, that is
Oh
allowed to
yeah.
exist in that space. And I can totally understand how Grand Floridian as a Black woman for you didn't hit, like
I feel like the world is starting to get a better sense of, especially like I feel like white people are starting to get a better sense of how different cultures are viewed. I think
that's
that
so
within the
kind
last
of you
couple
to
of
say in the
like
context of this current like
I
life.
and the reason why I say that though is because of, even though I don't agree with maybe who's sitting in our White House, even though I might not agree with things like that, when I do see things like the protests that happen in every single state,
Mm,
and I seen how people showed up, it lets me know that not everybody thinks like this. Is
right.
there maybe a majority that think like this? Yes. But I do take comfort in knowing that there are millions who don't think like this.
Mm-hmm.
Even being able to talk with you. There are people who have educated themselves in this. There are people who have maybe seen videos now or seen, or even, like I said, when my white friends go out with me, like there have been times where they've been like, oh my God, like, and I'm like, yeah, welcome to my life. Like you're seeing this firsthand. I feel like because of, Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, and a lot of these companies acting sometimes more progressive, it
Mm-hmm.
has given people more of a light of like, oh, like crap. This is what they mean by privilege. This
Mm-hmm.
is what it means by like maybe I can go here by myself, but it's not safe for my Black friend to go here by herself, or my Spanish friend, or my Indian friend, or my
Mm-hmm.
Asian friend. Like I do feel like Disney is getting better. There's still a long ways to go,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like Disney is getting better with creating those spaces for people to go and feel comfortable within the park, because I can remember a point in time, as I said, as someone who has been born and raised on Disney, where Disney was not a safe place for people who look like me to go.
Mm-hmm.
And whether people want to act like Disney has always been diverse or not, because they have not. I think people forgot that we just got our first Black princess in 2009, but I digress. Because we love to spin this narrative that Disney has always been so inclusive. But I have my qualms about that. But
Well, see,
uh,
like it's the thing about when I don't talk about Carousel Progress, for example, it's because it's like there is so much. Like if we wanted to, we could get into it.
deep
There's
dive,
so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
And I literally have to like turn that part of my brain off
Mhm.
when I'm in the parks. Because also it's like seeing the way that people have also not co-opted in like a bad way, but people have embraced and strengthened and expanded like Disney narratives too. Like
Oh yeah.
watching so much joy in like the Black Disney creator community. It's like there is so much community there, but also this like reinvention of different narratives. It's just really like wonderful and magical to watch.
And it's so great because, like I said, it goes back to that. Like Disney hasn't always been that, and if it wasn't
Hmm.
for people like uh Roz, magically Roz, or Melissa, Color Me Courtney, Bippity Boppity Broke, Be Poetic, Damo, God rest her soul.
Yes.
These were women who have made ways for us to be ourselves and have that Black joy in the park. And like I said, even be ourselves in the park. And like you said, rewrite the narrative of Black creators in the park, Black women in the park, Black
Hmm.
men in the park. It has been a beautiful thing to see. And I I have been loving the outbreak of Black creators that are just breaking into the Disney
Totally.
space lately. It has been insane. And I love walking around the park and seeing more people that look like me because of more people are starting to feel comfortable to go.
Hmm.
And I think that that is so important. And like I said, that's how I meet a lot of my followers or even like other creators because I'm running into these other Black women into the park. And I'm like, oh girl, what's up? Like, hey, like, that you're meeting like these people who not only look like you, they have similar stories, just everything. And it wouldn't be possible for those women. They broke down a space where we have not always been welcome. And if it wasn't for, like I said, and it's a lot more women that have broke down that door for us. But really, like if it wasn't for those women, we wouldn't be able to go into the park, and I wouldn't be able to go to the park and enjoy it the way that I am, and be able to show not only other Black little girls or Black women, but any. I have so many mixed race people that follow me and just like to see me like enjoy myself in the park, and it's because of these women I'm able to do that. And I feel so great now that they have made me feel comfortable that I can go into the park and show a little bit of my Black joy and show like what I do in the park and how I bound in the park and still be me. Like I don't have
Yeah.
to like put on a front. I can
Hmm.
still be like Stranje. I can still be magically adulting and like it's okay. And I love that. And I feel like our culture is starting to spill over into a lot of the other scenes. Believe me, I am seeing it. Our fashion, our lingo, it's starting to spill over into the Disney space very heavy. I'm noticing a lot of the creators are changing up how they're dressing. They're starting to dress more street style, and now we're not just getting the fluffy dresses with the bows, and we're these girls are starting to put on baggy pants and Timberlands, and these girls are starting to wear
Not this
snapbacks.
particular girl.
Yes, no,
There are
listen,
still dresses with bows.
I'm not that girl either. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. I like to do the most. I'm a
I mean, this,
diva.
I feel like this conversation has gotten like, we're like in a lot of very like heavy like topics, but it's so
Yeah.
fantastic. But there's a lot of research, and you probably know this from lived experience too. There's a lot of research that say like how, like the adultification of young Black girls in particular, and the way that their like behavior is so like negatively sanctioned from an early age. And so
Mhm.
for Black women to be in the parks, to be able to like be in this like childlike magical space, I can only imagine is very like healing, also like a larger societal trauma
God,
because of this
yeah.
like larger impetus to
Mhm.
like control Black women's behavior from the fact that they are like little girls.
Yeah, and like in bringing you guys like more into like our side, and I feel comfortable saying this. Like I feel like a lot of Black mothers unintentionally do it as well because
Mm,
that's what was also taught to them. So a lot of times we're taught it's better to be it's better to be seen than heard, and we're taught that you're not really allowed to have opinions, and I feel like I said, these girls have created a space like, no, we are. Like,
yeah,
we're allowed to go to Disney and we're allowed to critique the food. We're allowed to go to Disney and critique the bows. Like, we can have a say so too. Like we can go in and promote Disney. We can we can Disney bound and make it street, or we can Disney bound and put our culture twist on it. We can go in there and wear our long braids or our big curly hair and still show these girls like we're girls that want to enjoy Disney too. Like
yeah,
we're not like I love now that like we can all be in a space and like just be who you are. Like,
yeah,
and I feel like we have we still got a long way to go. We still got a long way to go.
100%.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I see the changes. In the 2 years that I've been here, 2.5 years now, I definitely see the changes, and I love it. I love it. I love going out into the park and also feeling more welcomed by white women.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many times I'm stopped in the park and
Stalked?
no, like
Oh,
stopped in
okay.
the
I
park
was like,
by
oh, that's
women
not
that are just
welcoming
like,
behavior.
I love I love your outfit. I love your hair. And it's just like it's just so beautiful to like see. It's so great to like just go and like just seeing women like women coming together. Like
Yeah.
it's so beautiful to see. I just love it. I love that it's starting to integrate more. Like I said, we still got a lot of work. We still got a lot of
Yes.
work.
Yes.
But
100%.
I'm also going to point out that there are changes being made.
Yeah, and like in terms of, recognizing histories in certain spaces. So I did an
Mhm.
episode on like exploring Black history in the parks and women's history in the parks, and I talked about the queue, like the line for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and how that is meticulously researched with particular like history references to African American and women's history in a particular time. They like are referencing the fact that like the French government really respected the World War I work of the colored soldiers, the colored soldier regiment. I can't remember what it was called, more so than the American government. I mean, more
You
so by
have
a
done your
mile.
research.
Yes, and like the like just how thoughtful and all of the artists that they brought in and how much research was done. And I really feel like that space demonstrates the way that you can do this type of referencing history, welcoming history, um, in a way that you can learn from it if you wanted to, but it's not quote unquote
Exactly.
down your throat if you wanted to just do the ride and move on. And it's really, I just feel such beautiful energy around that space because of how lovingly it was put together and
Can I be
received.
honest about Tiana's ride?
Yes.
I love the queue. I love the queue.
Okay. Good.
I feel indifferent about the ride.
Really?
I feel like,
So for those listening and not watching, there's a lot of thinking going on, like thinking how best to approach the
yeah,
statement that she does not like the ride.
yeah.
And I'm going to leave those pauses in, but again, come join us on Patreon to watch this conversation and the
I
way that she is mentally dancing around her critique.
I love the queue. I love it. I when I tell you the queue brought on every type of feel, when I tell you I was sobbing, there is video footage proof of me walking through the queue, sobbing
It's
my eyes
beautiful.
out. I felt
It's like
seen, I felt
museum
heard.
quality. Yeah.
Yes, I felt wanted. I felt like I belonged. I felt like we finally had our place in the park. I felt like Disney, thank you. Like this is what we needed. Like we're finally here. Like you're letting it be known like we're here too. Until I rode the ride.
Oh,
Like I said, this is someone who grew up on Disney. I've been to the parks a disgustingly amount of times that we do not need to discuss. I've rode Splash Mountain millions of times.
did you like Splash Mountain?
I loved Splash Mountain, if I'm
Okay.
being completely bluntly honest.
Okay.
I did not love the story.
Okay. Okay.
Let's make that very
Yeah.
clear. I did not love the story, but I loved the ride. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love
Right.
the drops. I loved all that. What I did not love, however, is that if you rode Tiana's Bayou, it is still very eerily similar to Splash Mountain, except the very end of the ride. You know, when they all come together and it's a
Mm.
joyful,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, all
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
beautiful. The rest of the ride, if I
Hey Solos, it's Samantha from the Editing Bay. I know that is a very cruel cliffhanger, and as it was happening, I was like, "Ooh, this is a terrible time." But what happens next is Stranje interrupts herself to say that her dog is barking because there's an Amazon package, and she's like, "Oh, the Amazon package is my Dapper Day outfit." And so then we started talking a little bit about Dapper Day, and then I was making a joke about how I showed my therapist my Dapper Day outfit, and then Stranje talked about her therapist. And so, because the episode was so long, even though that is very entertaining, it kind of felt behind the scenes ish. So I pulled it out of the episode and started back when we are now talking about just kind of going to Disney solo and picking up on referencing our various therapists. But again, if you go on Patreon and you watch the whole episode, I'll also just post the whole audio as well if you were interested in listening to it. Then you can hear that story. So we never, if I remember correctly, we don't actually come back to Strange's criticism of Tiana. It definitely was a dot dot dot. So I am not holding that from you. It just we never came back in the conversation, and we were just like the conversation was flowing so well that it just never seemed to make sense to go back. So anyway, dot dot dot. But now let's talk about healing and therapists.
I think that solo traveling can be so therapeutic depending on how you use it. It can be so releasing. It can put you, I feel like if you do not put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you will never allow yourself the room to grow.
I agree. I agree. And that there are so many there are so many like scary things to do when you're traveling solo,
Hmm.
and that this is such an like a good baby step. But also, if you are feeling drawn to go to Disney, especially solo, it probably is connected to some healing. So it's like
Hmm.
taking the step to like grow the muscle of spending time by yourself and traveling by yourself, but in this safe environment, which is a great
Exactly.
place to practice that, but also connect and heal to whatever is happening with you.
Yeah, my therapist definitely told me one thing that I and maybe people don't even realize about this about themselves. She told me to go to the parks by myself because of she wanted me to realize how codependent I was.
Oh, interesting.
She was like, you have no idea how codependent you are on people."
Mm,
And she was like, a lot of it is not because you're scared. You just become so codependent. And I did. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I do need to venture out and do I found that I wanted people to I was making Disney, even though it was my safe space, I would still find a way to make it for everyone else
mm,
instead of enjoying my safe space. And that's why I say that sometimes solo traveling can be very therapeutic because
100%.
it made me just sit there and like if you ever just sit there and just people watch, the clarity that will come to you. Oh my God. I have been sitting in Epcot with a margarita in Mexico, people watching and having heart to hearts with myself internally.
Yeah.
Like that's, to be honest, that's where I decided that I wanted to have a family.
Mm,
Um, like just looking around and I'm just like, I want this.
mm-hmm.
Like I want to do that one day. I want
Yeah.
to have like my daughter in the park with me. That's where I decided that I wanted to create content. That's where I decided a lot of things, sometimes good, sometimes bad, and when I say bad, I mean financially. Like a cruise, like a Disney cruise, Sometimes it'll go to a Disney cruise. So
Oh, the
sometimes it can be
finances.
dangerous as well. But but for the most part, like it's really made me think. And like I said, it's put me in very uncomfortable situations. It's made me, like I said, meet people. I like I said, I have social anxiety. Sometimes me going to the park has made me talk to other people because maybe someone might recognize me or they're another creator that I recognize. And now I'm sitting here like, okay, you have to like speak. Like, you
Mhm.
gotta use your words. Like, you're a grown woman, you got this. And I feel like by me going to those parks by myself, it has taught me to be a better person. It's taught me to be patient too. And I know
Mm.
that might sound so stupid,
No?
but it's taught me to be so patient and just so, like, in tune with myself, because when I'm in the park by myself, obviously, like I said, I'm always want to be safe first. A lot of times I won't live post. So
100%.
disconnecting when you are solo traveling in Disney, top tier. Top tier. It gets no better than that. To just completely disconnect from the world, not knowing if a bomb just dropped on someone, but I am sitting there laughing my life away with Goofy. It is the best thing ever. I love it. It's a complete escape, and I feel like everyone should have the opportunity to do it. And if you can't afford to go to the parks, I tell people all the time, take advantage of Disney Springs, take advantage of the resorts. Disney is that one place that I do feel safe.
One of the things I wanted to mention when you were saying like that you've had a lot of thoughts about yourself when you were at Disney by yourself. I I mean, I don't want to say it's the opposite, but it's kind of the opposite. Like I'm a consultant. I'm an educational consultant. I work in different organizations, and there was this one organization that wanted to make me full time, and it seemed like I shouldn't say no, but it like when it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
When it's wrong. And so I would be going to Disney a lot because it would remind me of like who I was. Like when I was there wasn't the push and pull where it's like, oh, this just doesn't feel right in your soul. Like at Disney, I'd be like, okay, look, like this, it is important to be reminded there are places that you can be the most yourself, right? So
Mhm.
whether you are there by yourself and you're just kind of like connecting more with yourself and like connecting with your intuition, or being at Disney because you just need to be like fully in your intuition, I think that Disney can be such a special place for that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And it's so, I tell people all the time, it's hard to explain to people how you can go to Disney and not attach, like you can disassociate,
Yeah.
but also get clarity. I was like,
Yes.
it's just very, very weird because and I feel like it's because, like you said, you're in your element. Like you can go there and you can be yourself. So it just helps you remind you, like, okay, like I can make these decisions. And I feel like for me, Disney has become my place where I have learned how to say no.
Mm.
It is my place where I have truly, truly learned that not only can I say no, but it's okay to say no. And I learned that from being myself in Disney. And people truly don't understand that. And that's why I tell people all the time, like, go to the space, go
Mm-hmm.
solo, try it out, and you will understand. Just go ride a monorail
Yeah.
from Epcot to Magic. Go walk around Disney Springs. I don't care if you have
Just
$2
go get a
in your
selfie
account.
with the castle. Like it is the
Yes.
most healing thing one can
It
do.
is so healing. And because a lot of us, I think, I'm saying a lot of us because a lot of my followers have said this to me. I was never able to do this as a child. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like, so I feel like it's so important to like reclaim that time
Yeah.
and like look back and be like, I did this.
Yeah.
I finally did it. I feel good about it. And like, I'm going to do it again. And I can do it when I want, whenever I want. And it's okay. And like I said, as once you start doing that, it helps you put so many things into perspective. There's been times when I'm going through with my husband, honey, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go to Disney, go clear my mind
Yeah.
because I'm about to hurt you. I need to get out, and there's times where I can go ride the people mover and be like, you know what, you really overreacted in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could have responded differently. And it's because I'm in my space, I'm in my bubble, and my head's a little bit more clear. Because now I when I step my foot onto Disney property, everything just like
Yeah.
I could care less that the world is burning down. I could care
I
less.
spoke to one guy on the podcast early on, and he said that like they had just moved to Florida and he was still looking for a job. And, looking for a job can be really tough and really depressing. And he's like, well, I realized like I can just go out of the house and go to Disney and just like go get an ice cream and like just kind of recenter. Like to see, like to me, it's such a reminder that like most people can be good, that there can be positivity, that people can work towards the same goal, right? Like
Yep.
the place I was working before, there just was so much constant conflict. And like, I just felt like my job often was like to Mary Poppins all the conflict. And then, so to go to a place like
Yep.
Disney and be like, oh, we're all kind of here for the same goal. It just was so, like, it was such a wonderful connection. And then, too, when you were like, a lot of people can't do this as a child. I spoke to one woman, Wendy, who said that she had a very traumatic childhood. There was a lot of abuse. And so she picked like one childhood year and she's like, what did that 7-year-old need right then? And she took one like blowout solo trip to be like, to just take care of that 7-year-old. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful story.
That's
And she goes
amazing.
more regularly now, but she's like, it was meant to be a healing trip. But you look at the pictures and, you know, there's just, it's just radiating with joy and radiating with magic.
I love it. And like I said, when I see those older people in the park, it lets me know like you're not crazy.
Oh
There's
no.
there's
Yeah.
80, 90-year-old people around here on scooters. You're not
Yeah.
crazy.
No,
Like,
no.
girl, I love seeing the old men on their scooters with their Mickey hats.
I know.
I'm like, why would I ever stop? And they're in there living their best lives. So if Disney is what brings, I tell everybody that life is so short. Do what makes you happy. If Disney brings you peace, if Disney brings you joy, if you really need to find clarity in your life and you're able to, go on Disney property. I don't care if you're
100%.
here,
100%. Just go on Disney property.
just go
Don't
on Disney property.
just go
I
on
don't
Disney
care if
property.
you're here, Disneyland, Tokyo, Paris, because we're manifesting you to be worldwide,
Yeah, 100%.
manifesting this
100%. Just go
worldwide.
on Disney property.
Just go on Disney
So,
property.
what is something that you do solo in the parks that you, other than like, just kind of thinking and like, what is something you do in the park solo that you wouldn't do if you were there with your family or friends or other content creators, for example?
Something that I do in the parks, this is gonna sound so weird. I cry a lot.
Oh my God, I love that answer. I
I
mean,
cry a lot.
that's so
I am
interesting.
notorious for going to the parks by myself and crying.
Crying, sad tears, like healing tears, happy tears, all of the
All
above
of it.
tears. Yeah.
All of it.
Wow. That's
It just
amazing.
depends on that day, that week. Like, I really truly don't understand people. I don't think people really understand how much Disney centers me. Like,
Mm,
I can go into Disney and it's just that therapeutic for me. Like,
yeah.
I love going to Disney by myself because sometimes you don't want to tell everybody everything. Sometimes I don't want to tell my husband everything. Sometimes I don't because I don't want him to worry, or I don't want to talk to my friends about certain things. And sometimes I could just go to Disney and like I can get on a ride and the nostalgia will
Mm-hmm.
just make me cry. And I'm just like, it's gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah.
it just sounds so weird. Like, I can go on Winnie the Pooh and I'm seeing Winnie the Pooh and I'm just sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because like I needed to, like you said about the lady, I needed to protect that 7-year-old.
Mm,
Like, or I needed to rejoice as this 32-year-old. Like, I've had a hard week and I get to come and like just sit with Pooh. And I'm a big person on just being grateful. And that's why I say that I never take it for granted that I am blessed that I can go to Disney, fortunately, whenever I want. And so sometimes it's just that. Sometimes the fact that I just get to sit on the people mover and pass the castle, it will make me start crying because I'm very aware that there are millions of people who are not able to do that or probably will never get the chance to do that. And that's why I think it's so important. Like, if you are able to just go on Disney's property, like I said, even if you aren't, blessed to be able to go into the parks, just go on the property and experience the magic. Because you can experience it at Disney Springs. You can experience it at a resort. You don't even have to go in the parks. There's so many times where I can create magic in the resorts. And
Totally.
I just go and just do it. It's just so therapeutic. And I encourage everyone to go to Disney and have a good cry. Watch a fireworks show,
Yeah, and
especially,
have a good
and have a good cry.
cry. Have a good
Have a good cry.
cry. I love that.
It's healing.
Yeah, that's going to be like the tagline of the show. Step foot on Disney property and have a good cry. What
Yeah,
you cry
have a good
about
cry.
is up to you.
Yeah.
I have just to plug a couple upcoming episodes. I'm doing an episode on like, well, a couple episodes. I think they'll be very long if it's one, but like how to experience the parks, not in the parks, like what you can
Yes.
do around Walt Disney World
So
Resort
many things.
property that feels like Magic Kingdom, even if it's not
Hmm.
Magic Kingdom. That feels like Epcot. That feels like Hollywood Studios. That although that one's a little bit more difficult. That feels like Animal Kingdom. That's actually quite easy. Yeah, like you can just go Disney Springs, Disney property, and like I talk in the podcast too that like yeah it's cheaper to stay off property, but then you're like off property. Like it's
Hmm.
to me, the point is to be on property. And so
Hmm.
I would rather pay the premium to be in the bubble because I'm not just going for the parks. I'm going for whatever juju is in that space,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Trying to educate people more on like you don't have to go to the parks. There's so
No,
much that you can do outside of the
I
parks.
know it is expensive and I totally get that,
Yeah.
but there's so many, and especially like really quiet contemplative spots around the
Oh my
resorts
God,
that you can
yes.
go. And there's going to be a series in July and August where I talk about the deluxe resorts, just like the amenities, not the
Mm.
amenities like because that assumes pools and like that's not
Animal
what I'm talking about
Kingdom
because you can't do
Lodge.
those. Pardon?
Oh, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh, I know. I tell people that all the time. Just like go spend the day
Park
in
at
Animal Kingdom
Springs.
Lodge.
Take the bus over to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Go spend the day there.
Whole
There's
day.
Boma's. There's the other restaurant. You can go see the animals. They have a bar right there.
The
What?
cast members there, like the cultural cast members from
Yes.
Africa,
Sometimes
like
characters are walking in the lobby. Go
walking in
to
the
the
lobby, the cast
resorts.
members told me to like go to the fire escape at the end of the
Mhm.
hall where the end like yeah, it's amazing. Okay, all right. So what are your hot picks for like what is something that you would tell a solo to like other than cry, to like do or eat or see when they're going solo? If you have followed any of Strange's social media in April, she's very anti Gideon's for good reason because
Yes.
there are much better cookies elsewhere. So,
Yes.
so don't do Gideon's, but are there things that you
Mm-mm.
suggest that they should do or should
Okay. My go-to when I'm in the park by myself, if I'm going to Magic, I am going to go get candy bacon. I am going to
where
go
can you
get it.
get that? I don't eat bacon.
You,
I don't really eat bacon.
okay. Okay. It's okay. But I just want to say that you're missing the best thing on planet Earth. It is so good. I'm not a big bacon person too, and that's why my husband thinks it's so weird. But especially when I'm by myself because he hates how expensive it is. It's $9.99, but it's the best strip of bacon you will ever have in your life. It
Okay,
is
I believe
across
it.
from it's in Frontierland and it is across from Pico Bills.
Oh, like the little kiosk. Yeah, and they
Yes.
had the beignets. That's where they have
Yes.
beignets.
You can get the candy bacon honey, and it is the best thing ever. Okay. If I'm going by myself, I'm definitely getting candy bacon. Um, Character interactions are a must
100%.
when you're by yourself. Character interactions. Um, Finding those hidden spots in the park and just relaxing.
Yep.
Must do. There are key spots in each park that like there's hardly ever people that pass through. I suggest like in Magic Kingdom, I always say that kind of like boardwalk bridge. You can find so many spots along that
Which
bridge that you can
between
just
like Adventureland, like it kind of starts in
yes,
front where the cheeseburger
like
roll
Haunted
pod,
Mansion all the way
not pod,
over
but
to like
cheeseburger. Yeah, spring rolls.
yeah,
Yes, yeah.
love
Love
that.
that.
Like find a spot on the bridge, relax. Epcot, there's tons. There's
Tons.
tons in Epcot, especially right now over by Test Track. Just laying in the grass over there, they don't mind, and just sitting in the grass and just people watching and just relaxing. So definitely candy bacon. Like I said, people watching, character interaction. Number four would be store browsing, because like who goes to Disney does not go browse the merch? Like that's the whole point. Um, and I would say my fifth, you said besides crying, but that's like my fifth,
I
having
love
a
it.
good cry before I leave. I am being honest, there's probably never a time that I go to Disney and I do not have a good cry. I can't think of the last time that I went to Disney and I did not cry.
Well,
Because like, did you even experience it?
I totally get that. I totally understand that. I think that when we meet in person, as we will definitely, that's how
Yes,
the Disney community works. We will eat candied bacon and just sob together.
yes.
Thank you for talking for an hour and a half with me. This has been amazing. How can people get in touch with you and to hear all of your hot takes and watch your stories like your therapist does?
They can always find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Facebook at magically adulting underscore. I am the same on all of my socials.
And the links to all of those are in the description below. This was amazing. You never finished Why You Don't Like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but you know what? I'm not even
Oh,
gonna ask you. I'm not gonna ask you to finish that because that means that we will just have a part B when your
yes, I
office
was gonna
is
say,
done. When your office is done, we'll have a part B. We
yes,
can you
we
can
would
bring
do
a
a Toy
slideshow
Story
if you want.
review.
I can have a slideshow about
Exactly.
Carousel of Progress. We can compare experience.
We can get down to the nitty gritty. Get down
All
to the
right.
nitty
Thank you
gritty.
so much. It was great talking with
Of
you.
course. Thank
Bye.
you.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well as all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. If you loved this solo story as much as I did, you probably will love watching it even more. The Disney Solo Magic Patreon has been reorganized to make it even easier for you to access this type of content. The Patreon has unedited videos of all the solo stories, as well as reflections on each episode, including the solo stories, an opportunity for you to vote on future episodes, and a monthly release schedule, which is always subject to change, but it's always kind of interesting to see what's planned. What's great about the solo story videos, and the reason why I really wanted to do the Patreon, is because we have so much fun having these conversations. And when you're listening to them, you don't totally get all of the looks, the gestures, the outfits, the laughing, the bloopers, the nose blowing, and all of that stuff that just make it like two friends having a great conversation. And we want you to be part of those conversations. So join Patreon now. It is $5 Canadian, which is about $4 American, $1 a week, or just over $1 a week. And that way you get access to these videos and can join the conversation and have even more fun. Plus, there is a free trial. And for those of you who signed up for the free trial in the different organization that I had for Patreon, guess what? You get to sign up for another free trial and get another week. I hope this organization of Patreon works really well for you to be able to see how fun it is to have these solo stories. And I can't wait to have more. I am booking solo stories up until September and October, so you don't want to miss access to how fun it is to have these conversations. And if there is enough of us, maybe we can have a big solo story meetup one day this summer. So please join me on Patreon. Although, if you're unable to join the Patreon right now, you can also support the podcast by subscribing, rating, reviewing, commenting, and sharing the Disney Solo Magic podcast to all of your friends and family across all of the platforms that we are connected with. The links to all of this is below, and I can't wait for another wonderful season of content. Bye!